Hi, it's me, Pepita, and this is Pepita's Journey. And today we're going to be talking about my Vegas trip I just took for my birthday. And and this is gonna, and this one and the next one is gonna be more like a two-part type of thing. So like, we'll hit. I'm actually recording two episodes right now, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna do that every week or, just trying to figure out my pace. Um, But so with part one, I will be discussing um, like my thoughts before I went to Vegas, what happened in Vegas, and then my part two is like how it was coming back home from Vegas. And because when I went to Vegas, I decided um, that I wasn't going to be on a diet, that it was just, well, both Will and I decided it'd be best if we didn't do a diet while out of town. So it gave us a chance to just explore and try different foods and stuff like that. And then, um, and then I so part two would be more so me discussing how my body felt to me acclimating back to my diet and just how my body felt during that process. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm sorry, this is my cat Luke. He thinks now that I decided I wanted to start doing these videos from my living room instead of my kitchen. Um, he thinks when I'm sitting on the couch, I'm supposed to pet him. So, oh well, don't mind him. And if you see my dog, she may walk past. Um, don't mind her neither. So, and if you're listening to this, don't mind my pets. You won't be seeing them. And so let's jump right in. So, before I went to Vegas, I'm not gonna lie, I was super excited. One, because I never went. I've never been to Vegas. And then I was super nervous because I've been doing so good for the majority of my journey that I like, even when I would cheat during my, like when I would like rotate off during my cycle, um like I was eating pretty much keto friendly foods for the most part. I was just adding in a a lot of oranges and stuff of that nature. More like it was just more fruit that I was adding in. Like I wasn't really adding in processed foods or anything like that when I would cheat, except for New Year's Eve and New Year's. That was a little different, but that was the only time we did add in like processed foods, and we both felt terrible. And then my my last cycle, I decided to not even cycle off because I knew that we were going to Vegas, and I was not going to be on my diet for a whole week. So I I was just like, I wasn't sure how my that was going to affect my body, and plus when we cheated around New Year's, we both didn't like the way our bodies felt. Like my body felt terrible. Like, oh man, I almost got like sick. So so with that being said, that part made me nervous, and then I was nervous about overeating and binging. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with like any eating disorders. Um, I did in my past. I, I I was kind of secretly anorexic at one point in time. Most of my families, they probably still don't know this because like this is just something I hadn't discussed with them. And And because it was just like something weird from it, it's one of those weird things for me. Like when I was younger, and I'm like right now, my goal weight is 160, and that's the size I was when I was younger. But at the same time, when back then, I didn't see myself as being smaller. I I still had this mindset of thinking I was big. Um, thinking I was, I guess you could say like plus size what I am today. So, and that's like something I'm still working on and processing. Is with this journey is some of those like secret emotions that I used to have, and so like most of my family were pretty skinny for the most part. So like me, I was kind of at the edge, like like I was no size zero when I was small. Like that was I was like a size 10, but at the same time I was healthy. I wasn't overweight. I was still underneath my BMI. So it like my BMI wasn't overweight. Um, so I was at the edge though of being over. Like if I would have gained just a couple more pounds, I would have been overweight. So I think that bothered me too. And then just not being super skinny. So with that being said, I dealt with that, and then in the process of dealing with not eating and secretly like being like there was plenty of times she'd be like, "Oh, you ate," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I ate. I already ate," and I never ate. But um, I still work on. I still have to catch myself from when I'm doing that. Like, don't do that. And it was even into like the point. I don't know if any of y'all are also like plus size or on your weight loss journey or have ever dealt with this or whatever. Um, I I would even not like eating in front of people. I really caught myself like I really started paying attention to that. Like maybe even in the last year that I still had that bad habit. Sometimes it's just like I I was uncomfortable about eating in front of people, and I guess that came from this idea of like because you're because you're like plus size or whatever, there's this negative like connotation that just because you're big, it must mean you eat all the damn time. Excuse my language. But like for most other big people that I know, or even with myself, they like rarely eat. Like you're not eating on a regular basis, and so like, and then when you are eating, it's more of a binge form type of thing, and so and so sometimes that is where like how you put on your weight and of that nature. And sometimes your body's just putting on weight because it doesn't know when you're going to eat again, so it's just storing everything you eat. uh, so with not eating, I end up and that was just like a process, like on and off from like I believe around when I was like 14 to like 18. I went through that phase where I would just, um, you know, I think I consistently like, didn't try to eat much. Like I was just eating the minimum, you know, to make sure my body would run. And then like, I think as I got closer to 18, I started, you know, getting really into working out and being very aggressive with working out just because I didn't want to gain an ounce. And so that I think that shaped like another step in my life where later on, like when I was 19, I dealt with some depression, and I think I tried to overcorrect from not eating um like I was supposed to on a regular basis, and exercising way too much, to just eating a lot, really eating my feelings at that point. I had really gotten to emotional eating. And now that is something I still have to work with, is not eating when I get emotional, because um, I, because I even recently caught myself. Uh, I was talking to someone, they were kind of making me feel away, and it was kind of like making me feel down, and the next thing I know, I'm demolishing my salad, and I'm like, what? Like, one, I'm not even at the table to eat. Two, I'm just gonna start smashing a salad. What are you doing? But so I realized I had to pay more attention to like how I act when I'm eating, and also like make sure I'm eating, but also make sure I'm not overeating, if that makes any sense. So, that part I was truly worried about. But then being in Vegas, it was pretty fun. It it was super fun, and then and I knew, and the other thing to like me thinking before I was headed to Vegas was um because it's legal. I I did try marijuana. I knew I was going to be smoking it, and I knew I was going to eat edibles. And I also know when I am high, I tend to overeat. So that made me nervous too, to just not know how I was going to be underneath that influence. And I was going to be drinking a lot because we were going there to have a great time. So, when we went there, it was pretty fun. Of course, like my husband, he's really big into walking. Like anytime we go out of town, and he's like a big explorer. We if we're like in somebody's like downtown area, or like if it's walkable, we're gonna walk. Like that's what's gonna happen. There's no ifs, ands, and about it. But sometimes I get annoyed with him because I'm like, Jesus, we gotta walk this far. We couldn't use a Uber, but I'm glad we did do that, because it made me not feel so bad about or feel like guilty about um not eating clean, because like even though I do eat the keto diet, I'm more so just really eating clean. So, and very low carb. I'm just eating clean and low carb. That is really all I'm doing. So, when when we got there, of course we hit up a dispensary. He had already had like a surf and turf place picked out for us that tasted super good. I don't know if y'all follow me on any of my social media stuff, but if you go to at Pepita's Journey on Instagram, you can find me there, and you can see some of the stuff that we ate, and also some of the outfits I wore. I don't know if you care about that, but and then on Facebook, you can also find me at Pepita's Journey, and so so we so we had some edibles. Um, we did have a couple different types, not all on the same day though. During the trip, we started off with like a fruit um like a fruit snacks type of gummy, and then we had like a regular gummy, and then we also did chocolate, and I enjoyed all of them honestly. The chocolate one was the chocolate ones were probably the best to me. I don't know if y'all are into those things or trying or into trying marijuana and edibles and stuff and anything of that nature. And then we had got a disposable vape pen and a vape pen that connected to like a battery we already had. And the and the reason I like edibles or like vaping is because I um I don't like to smell like I smoke. I'm really self conscious about that. Like I'm like I don't mind using it for recreational purposes, but I don't need everybody to know my business. So though that's why I prefer vaping and edibles because I don't feel like I need to smell like it. I don't like smelling like it. So um that part was like, oh, okay, cool. Um, Even when I was high, the one thing I noticed with my husband and I, it was we both weren't overeating. Sorry, we both weren't overeating, and that was pretty cool. Like once we felt like we hit our limit, we're just done, and we, I was kind of happy that the hotel we stayed in didn't have like a microwave or a mini fridge in the room, so like it didn't tempt us with like, oh, we're gonna try to eat this later and finish it. It was like when we're done with a meal, we're done with that meal. Um, we're gonna let it go. And so like with most of the time we would just leave it at the restaurant and move on from there. So that part was good. That part was pretty cool. We tried a lot of fun food and we did a lot of walking with with trying this food and walking to the different restaurants and just exploring the Fairmont experience and what else and going to the strip. So when because we got there Sunday night and we left late Friday. Sorry. Ooh, sorry about that. We left Friday night and we got here at like 4 in the morning on Saturday. So from like Sunday straight through, we were always doing something. And on Friday when I was finally able to look at my when I took a moment to look at how many steps I was doing per day, at the time I was averaging like 17,000 steps a day, which equates to about 8 miles a day. Um, and how which honestly was plausible the way my husband had me walking, because because we did some shopping, so it made sense to how I got all the steps. But I think from the food and from having so many carbs to not having any, I felt like the carbs were kind of slowing me down and making me kind of bloated. And I'm pretty sure that might have been from the gluten because I've been starting to pay attention to how my body reacts to how I feel when I eat gluten. And so I was getting kind of bloated and then feeling kind of sluggish. Like we were still like, still we were still living our best life. We just noticed we weren't moving as fast as we usually would if we were just sticking to keto. Like usually we're very high pace up here to being like kind of looking for that word, where we're just kind of slow. Like it was just like we weren't moving very fast paced at all. And we both were like, "Ooh, I can't wait to get back home to get back on keto." And that kind of made, I think it was funny that we were kind of thinking that, because it wasn't like it was forced upon us. It was just like we didn't like how our bodies felt with the carbs. It was just like I, I felt very sluggish. And so that part was cool, that I wasn't overeating. And then I noticed that I I thought I was just gonna be like, ooh, I'm gonna eat like this all the time, and it was just like, do I have to? I'm cool without eating like this. Like it will be completely fine. I much rather not eat like this all the time. I'm like, I think this is just more for like a moment to indulge, and then when I'm living my regular day to day, I can so we we did enjoy the food. We just noticed that it was making us a little sluggish, and we weren't feeling 100% like ourselves. So that part, was easy to deal with for the most part. Will was getting he was starting to have his acid reflux problem again. So I think that's also what made him be like, "Ooh, when I'm not eating this way, when I don't have this gluten or um, extra amount of carbs in my system, like I I don't have this issue. So I like when I don't have this issue." Now, um, one of the things that I was using Vegas for also was to step out of my shell, um, with how I dress for the most part, because usually I'm somewhat like a little bit conservative. I prefer to dress more conservatively, where I think the only thing I might not be super conservative with is like my boobs, but like I don't even see this as like showing a lot because I still feel covered. But I was trying to dress a little bit more provocative, a little bit more sexy, and just be like, you lost your 30 pounds, feel great about yourself, you're out here sexy, like nobody could take that from me. And with the process of going to Vegas, that was also another thing that I was a little nervous about, because I wasn't sure how I truly felt about it, because I haven't truly really dressed like sexy, if you know what I mean. Like, and if you're wanting to see like some of those pictures, like I think my sexiest outfit was probably my birthday outfit, which is super cute. Um, I love that outfit. It was like technically like a bodysuit, like leotard, like onesie type of thing that was like mesh see through, and it had a couple like black designs on it, and then I wore like a black bra underneath it, and then I had like a pleather skirt, and that was that like a pencil pleather skirt that was high waisted, that went really well with it, and I wore a black blazer on top of that. It was super cute. I think the blazer helped me feel a little bit comfortable, even though I was showing a little bit more than what I usually would. Um, and I got a lot of compliments from random people. That felt amazing. And like my husband would also notice like the looks from the guys, and he's like, "You see that?" And that felt great. My husband, he's super awesome because he's super chill. Like he doesn't get jealous. He actually is like, "Yeah, she with me," type of thing. and um and so he also looked handsome too. If you go on my Instagram, Pepita's Journey, you'll see him with me, and he was pretty cute. So that felt good. Like, even though I'm not close to my goal, that I could feel comfortable on the way to my goal. If then, like, it's like, I think just owning my body just made me feel amazing. And then seeing people be like, you're an attractive woman. And it's like, really? I'm still like a size 16, 18. Like, I'm still up here. Like, I'm not skinty yet, but I I love that part of it. It was just like, it was a boost of confidence that I didn't know that I probably needed. So when we so with dealing with that, that was pretty cool. And then we so what did we so that was pretty cool, being able to step out of my shell and just own my body. And I'm not gonna lie, I would walk past like uh any day, anything where I could see my reflection in, and be like, all right, I see you. And it just made me feel so good. I did even wear like some crop tops, because I've I've never showed any like stomach skin. I bought a two piece like a couple of years ago. Wore it just once. I was very still self conscious in it, but no, it might have been longer than that. Maybe it was like three years ago. And and it just felt good to be like, why does your size make you feel if you're beautiful or not? Like, you're beautiful regardless. And that was one of them lessons I needed to learn and pay attention to while I was there. So, like, overall, it was a super awesome trip. I had a fabulous time. Um, I was so happy that binging wasn't like a thing. Um, and and that was even with being high. That was It wasn't hard. And what's so funny is when I was high, I really wasn't wanting anything carby. But we had a couple of good carby foods that was just like, oh, that was good. That was amazing. Because I don't know if any of y'all, or if you do live in Vegas or whatever, you should check out the Donut Bar. If you have, if you haven't, try it out. I loved it. Realized I couldn't eat a whole donut. I was just like, what? But the donut I had was like, the donuts were huge, so they were like this big. And there's even like a picture of it on Instagram. It One was like cut in half, had like some whipped cream and some strawberries in it, and it had some whipped cream and strawberries in it. It kind of reminded you of like um, strawberry shortcake. So one was pretty good. It was kind of like strawberry shortcake. It was cut in half and it had strawberries and whipped cream in it, and it was really good. And I liked that it was kind of light and savory in a way. And then we had another one that was like a Pop Tart, and there was like a Pop Tart in it. Oh my goodness, it was good. Didn't finish it. Um, the, but I did. We enjoyed all until we couldn't enjoy anymore. So like, once we were like, we're both stuffed, we just kind of like threw the rest away because we weren't going back to it. And we didn't want to overeat. And so I think it was cool that, and while we're on that trip, we kind of just like munched a lot, like had little like we have like breakfast, a snack, lunch, dinner, a snack, and then just kind of do it that way. So like so like we wouldn't have a chance to like overeat, and it gave us time to like explore and taste different restaurants too. And and we also did the Wicked Spoon. That was also a pretty cool one. Um, a really awesome buffet. Truly enjoyed it. Loved their little cute little fine dining plates of everything they were serving. If you ever go down there, you definitely should try both of them, or should try. But what what I'm going to get into when I for my part two is definitely how it was when I got back. But we we were so busy. Like our flight was at I think like 12 a.m. on Friday, and I swear you not, we were out. I think we we didn't get back to the hotel to leave for the to go to the airport because we always try to make sure we were 2 hours early. I think we didn't get back to the hotel until about 8:30, and like we had spent that whole day um on the strip eating. Um, we went to an aquarium and got to see some sharks. It was like we were able to use every bit of our time. And then, because we were trying to tire ourselves out for when we got on the plane, and then just hope to sleep on the plane. So we had a great time. And then for any of y'all who are like you're like, I eat healthy for the most part, but when I go out of town I feel guilty about not eating what I or stepping out on my diet. Don't feel guilty. There's always another day or when you get back home to go right back to it. And so if you watch part two or you listen to part two, you'll hear me explain that process and go in a little bit more in depth on that. So I hope you enjoyed it today. And then if you would like to ask me any questions or you would like a question answered on here, I won't say your name if you feel more comfortable with that. And then please email your questions or what if you just want to say something to me. Please email me at pepitasjourney@gmail.com. And again, that's pepitasjourney@gmail.com. And y'all have a great one. And also, could you please like, share, and if you're listening to this, if you could please rate my podcast. And y'all have a great one. Bye bye.